the nature of literacy should be active learning. Think about it. As it was in the beginning. How did we learn literacy, language, spoken word, written text? How did we learn that? How do students learn that? I'm sorry? Yeah, let's look at what's been going on here for us. We've had a model all day. Yes, yep. She's been playing with dolls and with books and my stuffed animals. She's talking to her mom. She's listening to letter sounds. We're playing verbal games. We have very young children just born. Make eye contact with mom. Why? Because mom is making noise and I'm comforted by that noise. Literacy, language-based learning is active learning. And so we need to remember that as we're teaching literacy, that if it worked when they were little and it's getting harder, we want to keep it active learning. Right? So we're going to do 2 movement activities. So now I'm going to actually do 2 activities that you might want to bring back into your classroom. So this is kind of fun. Number 4. It's a good thing that's the biggest corner. We're going to number 4. That is amazing. That's really amazing. Sad, isn't it, Kevin? Oh my gosh. Okay, so I'm going to ask the 2 of you to come to corner 1. I'm going to ask the 2 of you to go to corner 2, and I'm not even going to do a corner 3 because we don't have enough people. Okay? By the way, you need to do this with the odd group. Sorry, first, because you have to not know what's going on yet. All right? Okay. So you do not know, you have not seen Star Wars, none of you, right?
No.
Okay. Have any of you ever seen any of the older Star Wars?
Yes.
Okay, so you have some idea of what's going on here, but you haven't seen the new one. Okay. Based on prior knowledge, what you want to come up with as a group is 2, 3 max questions about Star Wars. So you're going to ask the people who have seen it questions about the movie. So what is it that you most want to know about the movie? Okay. 2 or 3 questions. This is a large group to come up with 2 or 3. You may want to divide yourself into 3 and each come up with a question. Okay? Over here. So you have seen it. You need to be prepared to talk about the characters and the plot of the Star Wars movie. Characters and plot, right? Okay? You have seen it. You're going to talk about the setting. Now I'm only going to give you one thing to do, setting, because I gave them 2 things, character and plot. There's a lot of characters and there's basically one plot. But settings in the movie Star Wars, there's a lot of them. Come up with at least 3 that you can describe. Okay? This is really effective for building discussion, student-to-student discussion. Because you notice, once I set up the thing, I didn't have to say anything, except maybe the procedure. And once everybody understands the procedure the second time around, I don't have to say the procedures anymore. I'm like, we're going to do a bounce discussion, and my kids already knew what bounce discussion meant. And I would throw out the very first question, and after that, kids would ask questions, answer questions. So it's, and the ball is basically like a talking stick. You have to have the ball in order to be able to talk. Kids are great with this.
Do I do that in the middle of the book, at the end of the book?
You can. You can do this at any point with a book. Yeah, if you're reading a longer story and it's multiple chapters, this could be a chapter review. Yep. Well, what happened in this chapter? However, the important part of it is as you start it, it should be something very specific. Remember, I said, who is the main character? Something short and specific. I didn't ask an in-depth question. I just want it out there. I want to get rid of the ball. So I want something that I know the kids can answer like this, and then it's on the ownership of them. Okay? You'll notice as you do this over time, kids will try and stump each other. They're going to try and come up with harder and harder questions because then they get to keep the ball until somebody gets to answer it. So they naturally come up with harder and harder questions. And the kids you can see the thinking on their heads, that they really are trying to come up with the answers. So again, this can be done whole group. This can be done in small groups. I can tell you that for me, behavior management-wise, I always found it worked better in a larger group. The smaller group, it was harder for me to maintain because then obviously if that small group is doing it, somebody is doing something else over here, and then if I'm not watching, then the ball's all over the place. I always just, personally me, I found it was better as a whole group thing. Yep.
Did you use that, Kathy, to compare and contrast to books?
Yeah, you could.
Do you think that would be too tricky?
No, you could do that. So for example, like the mitten, you got, yeah.
Exactly.
If you read the 2 different, the Tressault version of the mitten and the Jambrette's version of the mitten. See, primary, I got it. You could, the first toss out could be, are the characters in the Tressault book and the Jambrette book the same or different? Simple. Somebody's going to say different. somebody could say the same because some of the characters are the same.
Yeah.
Automatic debate. Automatic debate. Great question. So if a student answers incorrectly, and if you're in a group like this, what do you think the reaction is going to be?
No, that's not good. That's
Yeah,
not right.
the kids are going to help. Now, the first time out, you have to make sure that you're reinforcing respectful. Okay? I disagree. I disagree. And sometimes I'd have to say, does anybody disagree with that answer? Can we put your hand up with a smile on your face? So, big smile. Yes. Okay. Can you tell me why you disagree? And can you give the ball to Bernadette so she's going to tell us why she disagrees? And then you model that, and then eventually. Remember, those are the kind of skills that kids are going to have to debate. So when you get into older grades where you actually want class discussions where they may not agree, those are the skills you're trying to build, and you can build it with this in a fun way. Yeah. It's okay for them to disagree.